Welcome, everybody, to Week 18, the regular season finale of the Hot Route. It is January 7th, 2022, a Friday noonish type time. We last few weeks putting this back a little bit as normally been waiting on COVID information, all that kind of stuff. This week's a mix of COVID versus motivation factor versus injuries, all kinds of stuff. We're going to go through our best. Probably not the typical format of going through every single game, more highlights and strategy talk, motivation talk, stuff like that. With me, as always, Mr. Ryan. How are you doing on this Friday afternoon?
Doing great, man. It's finally, freezing cold here. So upstate New York, it's winter time. So a couple months of cold, but looking forward to Week 18 and the playoffs starting. I love this time of year, and being a Niner fan, we got a lot to play for on Sunday. So I look forward to watching that game and all the games. So how you doing?
Big news for you boys on the betting front. I saw yesterday, correct?
Yeah, so we're getting 4 different books, like Caesars, DK Sportsbook, and then like our local Rivers down in Schenectady. So we'll get like 4 different books on Saturday, I think, and then we get like 7 more over the next few weeks. So there's going to be a ton of options. So we went from just being the worst and having nothing in New York to having some of the best options around. So it's gonna be awesome.
I think FanDuel too, right? Isn't that what McAfee said?
Yeah, FanDuel is one of them.
Yeah.
So that's how he had all the news on it, because he's partnered with them. So he had I think he's the one that kind of dropped it to everybody, the big news.
Right.
But yeah, we're pumped. That's a big game changer too for NASCAR coming up. So it'll be awesome.
Yeah, obviously we're still not quite there yet on the legal books here, but glad to see New York get up there, big state as it is. Hopefully no, back up there or anything. I think they've gone through many iterations now that y'all should be good to go on those. It sounds pretty legit. That'll be good. MMA will be another good one. I saw the MMA guys over in our GC Warrior room pretty happy.
Yep.
I'm sure Tommy will be having some content for that as usual. Have they changed? Does this affect because you guys can't do college football. Does this affect that at all?
No, just this was strictly like a betting law, as far as I know, that passed. And the college thing, they still, the college thing's so weird too, because we had it, then we didn't have it, then we had it again, and they took it away again. It's like they can't make up their mind on that one. So I don't know what's going on, but that'll be a great day when that comes back, and I can read Bobby's stuff and use it.
Yeah, I mean, hell, the players are getting paid now, so I don't see why they care if you guys have college football DFS or not. I've never been in a state in my life that didn't have it, and I flew out to Cali a couple weeks ago, as you're aware of, and I land, and that night I'm in my hotel room I read Bobby's stuff. I got my notes. I'm fixing to build lineups, and it's like college football not allowed here, and I was like, what in the F is this?
Yeah, it's terrible.
I was heated, pissed.
Oh yeah.
I sent it to Bobby. I was like, another reason I will never live in California. Visit it, love some golf, beach, golf course, whatever, but won't live there by any means. If you want to join us right now, it's an absolute great time to come join the community. Had a lot of new signups, a lot of people coming back. I mean, I get it. People leave just for golf. Seen a lot of new faces, but same faces from the fall. They take off a few months, come back and join us for golf. The iTunes podcast rankings, we climbed up. I think we peaked at 12 at one point. So golf is a key to our community, but I know as more people get involved, they understand we bring a lot more to the table than just golf. I know that's what was kind of the core of the business, but I'll put our NASCAR product up against anybody in the country. I'll put our college football product against anybody in the world. MMA is right there in that community, and that Slack is amazing. And our NFL stuff is solid. It's just a saturated market that I get people kind of go to their go-tos, and we'll keep covering it because I think we've turned a lot of a profit for people this year. Once again, I think the product is better than it's ever been, and will continue to grow, especially the tools and all that. And we're going to bring some of that to the other products as we continue on 2022. If you want to check it out for yourself, use the code HOT, get 20% off any package. That includes a 7-day risk-free trial. We got golf teeing off in another hour-ish. Probably will be teed off by the time you listen to this. This is not going to be an hour pod, I can promise you. This is one of my least favorite weeks of the year, followed by one of my favorite 2 weekends of the year. We'll get to that here in a little bit, but golf every day for Showdown for me, and then we'll have the full field event covered next week. You'll get all that for free. Monday night, Bobby will put up a thorough article over the Showdown slate, big pots for that. We'll have that covered. UFC back next Saturday. NASCAR about a month out. So you'll start seeing all that stuff rolling in. You get 7 days free with that code if you don't like it, because I want to improve. Like and subscribe on YouTube. And today, tell me your favorite play running back not named Jonathan Taylor. I think he's probably going to be, we'll talk about him for cash, we'll talk about it for everything else, but outside of Jonathan Taylor, who I think's going to be very high owned and obviously popular as they're ultra motivated to get the W, who is your favorite running back? And then put Diamond in there. The reason for Diamond, if this is your first pot of the week, I'll be giving away a free Diamond level upgrade in DraftKings Super Bowl weekend to one of our loyal followers, members, and by doing that, every time you put the diamond in there, that gets you in the drawing. Basically, you'll get the diamond level. If you're in DraftKings, which I assume if you're listening to this, you play DraftKings, you'll get all the rewards and perks for the diamond level for 3 months as a trial. Being the highest level in DraftKings that I am, I get the option to give that away to someone for free. I already talked to the rep. All I got to do is get your DK name, which I'll reach out to you for that. So just put your favorite running back this week / diamond or whatever, and that'll get you going in that giveaway. And I'm waiting until Super Bowl so you can have it for the Daytona, the TPC, the Masters, a lot of great contests for February, March, and April that you'll be able to utilize that for. So I'm looking forward to someone winning that for free. Underdog, right now you can use the code GUP, get a dollar for dollar match up to $100. They have started the gauntlet. I've talked about it for a few weeks. It's getting hot and heavy now as we get closer to knowing the 14 playoff teams. $1 million in prizes, $200K to first, $25 per entry. So if you put $100 in there now, you get a free $100. You get 8 entries into that. I know there's guys drafting daily, hourly now in the GC Warrior Room talking about it all day long. I have my strategy up. I'm probably going to wait a little bit and hit it hard Monday. I didn't look before I came on. I should have. Last I looked, it was about 25% full. I assume as we start seeing the final teams, that thing will fill up really quick come Sunday evening and Monday. So be sure you get in that. The link is in the description. I will give you my underdog picks later on in the podcast for this Sunday.
They have a new $5 on there too, Gup. So not just the $25 entry. If you want to get into the $5 one with $100K worth of prizes, that's also up there now too.
Yeah, the first one filled super quick. I know some people were looking for it, and I saw yesterday that someone said they put a new one up. So if you don't want $25, you can get, would that be 40 entries into the $5 one if you put $100 in and get the free $100. And again, if you're not familiar with best ball, this is a good time to learn it and then also get into the GC Warrior Room, and everybody talks about it, strategy, different ways to go at it. It's good stuff. It's something to keep you fun throughout the playoffs. I enjoy it as well. And I love their app. I like their pick'ems. I like the way they've constructed everything, and they're a good partner of ours that we hope to maintain through 2022. With that, their PGA stuff is up. They didn't have full tournament this week, but they do have round by round. I shared my picks this week or today for round 2 on Twitter and with the community. I'll do those nightly when I get a chance to, and then certainly we'll do it for the full tournament come next week. And Monday on Cup with Gup, I will give my Monkey Knife Fight and Underdog college football pick'em plays on that podcast as I give my thoughts for that game, as well as recap NFL, PGA, stuff like that. We have 13 games is the main slate. Is that right? Did I add it up right?
Yeah,
2 on Saturday and 1 Sunday night. Yeah. So another big slate. A lot of these are going to be irrelevant, either one side or two side. And when I say irrelevant, too much unknown motivation type factor to mess around with. But there are some, I think, some sneaky plays, some stuff that we can take advantage of. I don't say I don't play this week. I will play, obviously, some. I'm more strategic on the contest I play. I like having golf back, so I definitely I put some more money towards that this time of year. And before I forget, I will do the podcast I talked about Thursday We had some family stuff shift around, and we had to watch our niece. I was getting more questions. I got a lot of questions from you guys, so I'll tee that up and record that. It'll be a Q&A like I talked about on Cup with Gup, some strategy stuff, all that kind of stuff that you guys are asking me. I owe you that, and I'll get that to you. But this is another one. Like I shift some of my bankroll this time of year. I like the 2-game slate actually a little bit better on Saturday because I feel I know a little bit more. And then I know there's a big Monday night college football, the biggest showdown slate of the year. So I plan all that in ahead, and I'll just be lighter Sunday, but I still think there's good advantages. What is your strategy? What is typically week 17, but now week 18?
Yeah, same thing. I'm going to keep cash the same as it's been. I'm not going to dial that back at all because I just think the edge is still there, if not even more, when you're actually paying attention to motivations and incentives and things like that, and kind of, or you have a better idea of how much you think players are going to play, compared to other people. So I'm keeping cash as is, and we'll talk about that when we hit the games. But yeah, tournaments, I definitely want to be a little more strategic, like you said. So I'll dial that back a little bit and probably focus on single entry 3 max type things and not with, a million people. I kind of like the tournaments that are, 500 people or less. So I'll probably stick with that for this weekend.
When you're talking tournament, do you typically, is there a spot or two where you go, man, this is a little risky, but I can see the path where this pays off and no one's going to go there. And we'll get into the details of the games in a second, but just in general, there you go. All right, this is a week I could try. The one we just talked about on pre-production before we came live was Aaron Rodgers. He talked about he wants to play. He's going to play. He's not. I mean, there's a little bitty bonus he can get out there, which is it's a rounding error in his bank account. Motivation for MVP. Does he care? Motivation to shove it up that reporter's, what? People's fear is he goes out, plays a few drives just to keep good things going because they know they have the bye week and then he's done. So I don't see many people going there. And if that's the assumption, do you take a chance that he goes out there and throws for 280 and 3 or 4 touchdowns in the first half, then maybe shuts it down, but that may be enough with the leverage alone than most of the field on the day?
Yeah, it's hard because when you look at his in the price range he's in, you have other quarterbacks too that are motivated that would have to win. And so, yeah, I mean, everyone would go there, like Kyler Murray, things like that. But I don't know. I mean, I guess it depends on what you're willing to lose. Because if I'm spending $100 or more in a tournament, I don't know. Rodgers becomes a little iffy for me, just because I don't know. I mean, even if he plays a couple drives, does throw 200, 2 TDs, is that really going to be enough to win a tournament? Yes, it's probably enough leverage to pass a lot of people, but I don't know if that ceiling game where that he has had many, many times when he plays 4 quarters can be there, where you're getting 30 DraftKings points, and so. I don't know. I just feel like maybe the extra 10 points he could have got you in the second half that another quarterback can get might be worth it. But I like where you're headed there. I mean, and we don't know what he values. $100,000, like you said, that's just an accounting error for someone with his bank account. But I don't know. Maybe he's greedy. Maybe he's greedy and wants it. He finishes in the top 3 of TD passes and he gets $100,000. So, yeah, maybe he goes out and throws 3 or 4 in the first half to secure that money and then sits. I guess that could be enough. That's a tough one.
I do think this is, and we say this every week, but this is more important this week. I wouldn't be building anything until an hour and a half before the game Sunday. I'd have my pool together. I'd have things ready because I think it's important that Sunday morning we get up and listen to every beat reporter on the fantasy show, or, ESPN2 or where, NFL channel. I have all of them up. I'm trying to gather as much, boots on the ground information because we may hear Aaron's pushing to play at least 3 quarters, if not the whole game, and that could be a last minute type. If I hear that kind of noise, now I boost that up to go, all right, well, it's a risk, especially in something like a Millie Maker. I may only do 5 lineups in the Millie Maker, which is, I would never suggest that as a bankroll management. But if I think no one's going to be on him, and I kind of hear something like that and go, well, shit, what if he winds up playing the whole game? Against Detroit, are you kidding me? But we may not. We may hear he is absolutely not playing more than a quarter. Well, now I got to X him out because that's not worth it. So I think being around the GC Warrior Room Sunday morning, and it's one reason we're not going to sit here and go through all 13 games because a lot will change between now and Sunday morning on the motivation factors, injuries, potential COVID, all that kind of stuff. I will say, at least on my stuff I pulled up before we came live, 4 games that have potential weather: Jets, Bills, snow, wind. The only reason why that could be important is I think Bills may be a hot spot that people go to because they do need to win. And it sets up to be just a grind it, pound it type of game. I don't know if that hurts Allen or not or more. We can get into that in a second. Bengals, Brown, just wins, nothing too crazy. That game's kind of taking a crazy turn in itself. I'll also be interested, we'll side note that is, what if somehow the Chiefs get upset Saturday? It's a divisional game. The Broncos want to pull the upset. Now all of a sudden the Bengals have life at the number 1 seed. Do they flip script and all of a sudden Burrow goes, I'll go play? I don't know. We'll see. Washington football team, Giants, Drizzle wins. I don't know much there. I think Gibson maybe live, but that doesn't look like a good environment. Then Steelers, Ravens, technically will be playing for a potential playoff spot. If somehow the Colts lose, I don't see that happening in any way, shape, or form. But cold rain there, that looks like an ugly game in general. Anyways, I just want to point that out. We're going to go through some of these key motivations, a few of the games, and then kind of some of where we're at as far as favorites on the slate. And then most of the work's going to come over the weekend and into Sunday. Where are your high leverage motivation spots right now for Sunday?
So motivation-wise, you kind of start right at the top with Kyler Murray, like I just mentioned him. So Cardinals need to win, and Kyler's 7,400 on DraftKings. That's not enough for him for his upside in a game like this against the Seattle defense, which is just brutal bad. So,
not only does he need to win, they have a legitimate. The 49ers could beat the Rams. I mean, that's a legitimate potential, which boosts them into a divisional title from a 5 seed. So I 100% agree with you. It's not like they need like 6 other things to happen. Like it's literally win and then a very close, I think it's 4 in most spots, 4.5 point spread game. And the Rams, the 49ers have owned the Rams the last 4 or 5 straight games. They can win their division and be a potential 2 or 3 seed. So I think that's a huge motivation spot.
Yeah, and I don't mind even coming back with Lockett or something like that because Carroll might want to play the spoiler here. Division rival. He's got to be a little pissed off. Like there's that sense of the season's over. How much motivation do they really have? But you got to be a little pissed off that your season's over. You're playing the Cardinals here, and they're going to come out and try to kick your ass to get that to win the division. So I don't know. Maybe they try to play spoiler, and Wilson goes hard here. So I like this game. It's obvious it's got the highest total in Vegas for the slate here, but I do really like it. It's a hyper-motivated Cardinal team with some good prices, too, like Christian Kirk, 6,000, Ertz, 5,300. A.J. Green's got a little, dollar incentive he could hit. I think he's got 2 of them. He's 5,400. So, they need to win. I don't think they're going to force feed Green to try to get him any more money, but it's just nice to know, maybe he'll run a crisper route or something and try to get open and earn those targets. So who knows? But I like all the Cardinals. Connor too, if Edmonds misses a game, and then run it back with Lockett.
I think Colts will be a popular spot. Do we have concern? All they got to do is win and get in. I don't see them losing on the road to Jacksonville. Is there concern of it's an ugly, beat-up game. They're up 23 to 6 in the second half, and they keep running, which would help Taylor. So is it Taylor only? I know you put a few more in your article, but is there concern that they just try to get the W and get out of there? If they wanted to, they could blow them out. We know that. Jags are awful. We've seen that. The Colts D has been really, really good, as of late. They blew last week, but you live and learn from that. I think they put it on the Jags, but is there a chance there? The only reason I bring it up is leverage. So many people are going to go to JT because they're like, well, they're playing, they got to win. They're going to feed him. Is there a spot where you go, all right, I can fade it because everybody's going to be there and I'll go here?
Well, I think you can pivot within the game too and go to the they're not known for their pass game, obviously, but neither are the Patriots. And look what they did last week. So, like Mac Jones throwing 3 or 4 TDs, like there's multiple ways to get up and put points on the Jags. So it's kind of goes back to my classic, like to be different. I don't ever mind playing a quarterback with a running back. Taylor hasn't seen a lot of targets lately, and that, I normally like doing it when the quarterback will throw to the running back too. But a game like the Jags, I mean, why couldn't, Wentz throw for 2 or 3 TDs and Taylor run 2 in and have 100 yards? Like, that just seems possible. So I think maybe instead of pivoting off the Colts, you just go to all the Colts. That's like do the full onslaught that no one really likes doing.
Yeah, I think my first knowledge would be I agree with that because I don't think many would. But if you go Wentz Pittman and fade JT, and maybe you play Cooper Kupp, the reason being my game script would be like you just said, bang, 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 4 touchdowns scored, 3 of them passing. JT gets his 1, but they're up 28-0, 28-6, whatever. And you've dodged that JT script. The fear there is the comma pause is, well, if they're up 28-6 in the second half, they're probably going to feed JT, but I do have reluctancy that they go, all right, we're at 28-6. We're not getting JT hurt, so let's mix in some more, Hines or whatever in this second half, and let's just get to the end and be healthy going into the playoffs now that we got this wrapped up. Again, this is anecdotal game scripts, but in this Week 18, if you're going to invest the time, you got to think outside the box a little bit. And so I agree with both those ways. I guess Treadwell could be a comeback. That I agree with you. That's the only Jag I would look at. Just because
it kind of happened with the Patriots last week. Like Harris had a good game going. He ended up tweaking his hammy or whatever. But then Stevenson finished the game, and he had 102. So I guess there is a path there where Taylor has, 50 yards rushing, and maybe he pounded a TD in. But then if the other 3 TDs come in the pass game and they're up 30-0 or 31-0, 31-3, why give the ball to Taylor anymore? Then it's just a Hines game, or you activate Mac or do something weird there and just, hand the ball off to someone else and let them, have the risk of turning an ankle or something.
Football team, Giants, not going to spend a lot of time on this. I agree with you. I think I do like the football team for defense. Could be also, I talked about potential weather, drizzle, wind. We know how bad the Giants are. I am most likely going to be Bills at home against the Jets in potential snow wind, and then Washington football team against the Giants. Maybe Indy against the Colts, although they're on the road. And I'd rather pay 100 less for the Bills. Browns, Bengals, will get to that. I don't really know there. Titans, Texans have been fighting enough that I think Bills and Washington football team may be the only 2 I kind of stick with and may flirt with the Colts a little bit. Anything in this Washington game outside of that?
No, not really. You kind of hit it on the head. If Seals Jones doesn't play, Bates is fine. Punt for 3,000. I don't think there's much of a ceiling there, but there's not much crazy value this week. Like normally Week 18, you do get the teams kind of resting people, and we have a lot of teams still in it. So we don't really know how much min-price guys we're going to have. So a $3,000 tight end, not bad. Probably more of a cash play though, because I don't think he's going to win you any tournament. But yeah, when you were talking about the Giants earlier and the weather there, I think that just leads you right to the Washington defense and just playing every freaking defense against this terrible offense. And I think Fromm starting again, it's just they are brutal bad. So you're going to get some sacks.
We saw what the Bears did last week, and it's not going to be much better this week for them.
Yeah, they're like, you play every defense versus the Giants as long as Fromm or Glennon was back there, and you're doing good.
I had enough Bears, but in hindsight, I was like, I should have just had all Bears. This was just dumb.
Yeah.
It was just too easy. I think they were 3,200, but we talked about them, but I wasn't all in. I split it up between 3 or 4 teams. Like I should have just played all Bears. And
the Fromm Glennon combo and just the plays that they run in that offense. I mean, it's got to be the worst offense in the league right now. It's terrible.
The only thing I will mention, you talked about it, won't be on my radar at all for DFS, but Heineke can get a bonus, and for him, probably relevant. playing over 60% of the snaps to get 125K. But that's nothing DK wise I would do there. Bears Vikings. I don't know. Do you trust this Vikings? We're all in. We don't care deal, or I mean, I guess we have to take their word for it. But in a normal, if this was week 13, I'd kind of love the Vikings at home here. But what do you think?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to swallow because you got two sides of this game where you have massive volume going to these guys. Where you have Montgomery on one side, and then you got Cook and Jefferson on the other, and it's like, I want to believe that they're going to play the whole game. I just don't think they'll sit. I don't see why. Justin Jefferson is kind of one of my favorite plays on the board for that reason. 8,100, the price is up there. And if anyone has a fear of him not playing, I mean, if that takes his ownership down and you're coming off I think Cup's 9,700, but he'll still be, owned a ton this week. So Jefferson's beat him in weeks this year. For 8,100, I don't mind it, and you assume that risk, but that's what's keeping the ownership down. So I kind of like Jefferson here.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, if you're just assuming they're all going to play, you go there. I kind of wish Fields was playing a little bit. I think that would have been a fun spot for him, and probably would have boosted Mooney and Montgomery for me a little bit, but maybe Dalton's out here going, all right, I'm not going to be the quarterback next year. We know that. I got once again. I don't remember if he signed a 1-year deal to come here. I knew it wasn't long. So maybe he's out here going, let me show that I'm still viable in this league for someone. Worst case, a mentor in the same situation I just did with Fields. So if someone's going to draft, Matt Corral or someone like that next year, they go, let's bring Dalton in. He's been solid. The Bears' offensive line is atrocious, and he survived, something like that. I don't know. We'll see by Sunday if we get more hyped up on that one.
Funny Titans you said that, though, because I actually had Fields written up in here and had to change it when they announced he's not going to play. So
Fields was going to be one of my plays this week, no doubt about it.
Yeah. I was hoping for it.
And now he's out with COVID, I guess. Titans at Texans. Titans win and they get the number 1 spot. I think that is massive motivation for them. They do not want to go to Buffalo, New England, or Kansas City. Actually, I don't think Buffalo can get it. It's either New England, Kansas City, or or Cincinnati. So Chiefs probably win against the Broncos. 10, 11-point spread now. They need this win. Texans have been playing tough, and I don't see that's going to change. I don't think we're going to get Derrick Henry back, right? They just activated. They did that, so they had the 21-day window from what I understand. I think there's 0 chance of him playing. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think he's practicing with them knowing he's not going to give it a go this weekend. So I'm counting him out as of now.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I like Foreman. I don't mind the D, although I like the other two better. A.J. Brown makes this team go, in my opinion, especially without Henry, so I don't mind that. If you want to run it back with Cooks, I think that's a good run it back. I don't know how many people are going to pay $6,300 for Cooks on the Texans in Week 18. I think he'll be owned, but nothing crazy, 10, 15% max. That's kind of where I'm at there.
Yeah, and I like Foreman a lot here, and depending on how the rest of the weekend plays out and the news that we get, he's a riskier cash play, but I'm considering it. I mean, over the 5-game stretch he's been the starter, he's averaging almost 20 carries or touches a game and has 300-yard games in that time, has 3 TDs in those 5 games. I mean, he's got some good potential here, and everyone runs all over the Texans. So as of right now, without any clear low dollar value for cash, I'm considering him. I don't have him in the cash lineup I built earlier today just as a preliminary, but I wouldn't hate it if someone sent me that and said, what do you think?
So probably the best motivation, one of the next best motivation spots of the week is the Buccaneers. Some financial motivation, big time for Gronk. Brady, he just wants to win. I don't know how much he cares about the MVP and stuff like that, per se. But Gronk, I think you said he needs 6 for 85 and 3 touchdowns, and he gets $1.5 million. If there was a prop out there, does he go 6 for 85 and 3 touchdowns? It would be plus money because 3 touchdowns is a lot. But I would lay a little bit on it because I think Brady knows that. He'll get the 6 for 85. I'd bet my life on that, barring injury. 3 touchdowns, a little bit. less achievable, but you can get $1 million for 685. Is that good enough for you to load up there on Gronk? And do you care about Brady in that situation? He tends to like to show people, hey, AB's gone, whatever, next man up. Evans is probably a little healthier after taking a snap count last week. This cat that I don't even know where they got him from. He's never played football in his life, but he's a track superstar. Can take the top off the defense. Brady trusts him. He's showed some of that. Are you all in on the Bucs, or is it just Gronk?
No, yeah, I'm kind of all in on the Bucs here. Motivated, like you said. Brady's got some incentives that he could possibly hit. They're kind of long shots, though. But yeah, like you said, the main thing about Gronk is he doesn't just need to hit all three. He can get paid $500,000 separately. Right. So 6 for 85. I mean, I'm even if he's 6 for 85 and he scores one of those TDs, that's a huge, 20-point DraftKings day for a tight end for only 6,300. So I'm guessing Brady's going to try to make his man $1 million here. And then I love Grayson. Grayson's 4,400. Brady's talking him up a ton now too. Yep. He's the big benefactor of AB leaving. So, yeah.
And no Godwin, right?
Grayson and Gronk. What'd you say? Sorry.
I said Godwin's out, so that they even with AB, I think he was still going to get some love.
Yeah.
Now AB's gone. He certainly looks like. I mean, do we say he's the number 2 wide receiver right now in Tampa? Not including Gronk, but Evans then him.
Yeah, that's what I think. Like tournament strategy, like you're saying, I think I think Evans is kind of the forgotten man right now. Everyone is going to know about the Gronk incentives. Grayson's cheap. So if you want to be different, I mean, Evans for 7,100, and he's got that questionable tag next to him. He's barely going to be owned.
Yeah, I got him at 5%, which is egregious with the potential. I guess you could be concerned saying, does he get any looks in the red zone because of the Gronk factor? But man, he could still get there. I wouldn't let that. If you want to double stack Brady, Evans, or even triple stack or mix and match Evans, Grayson, and Gronk, I don't hate that at all. Do you touch the running backs at all for Tampa, or you just think Brady's out on a mission?
No, I mean, I debated Vaughn, for tournaments, but I really think Bell's going to kind of take away a lot of the pass catching, which is really what Vaughn is supposed to be there for anyways, or he was. So I don't know how they're going to mix that up. And then once they get down near the goal line, Bell's got that experience down there, so I don't know if he's going to be the man there. Maybe Bell's the better tournament play then. No one's really going to go there. He's very cheap. I don't know. So I'm probably going to stay away. I'd probably look more towards just paying up for Evans to be a little different and go from there and just think it's a Brady day.
What's our update on Harris for New England? Because I think Stevenson in that spot would be a smash spot for me at 5,900.
Yeah, I have Stevenson listed again because Harris even left, but he's limited in practice. So that's what he was last week, and he tried to play, tweaked it, left the game again. I don't know what's going to happen there. Stevenson is fully healthy, and again, you get the savings in money. So, and to me, it's another game they could get up big again potentially. So they don't need to kind of jam Harris in there. They could just give 20 more carries to Stevenson. So that'd be where I go there. Nothing for cash, but definite tournament option.
So Saints at Falcons, potential high motivation. If Rams beat the 49ers, the Saints have to win, and they get in. I love Pitts this week. He's my favorite tight end play. I think they will get him the rookie record. I think it's well documented in their clubhouse. And, I just see him getting that. And double stacking him with Gronk would be a great play, in my opinion. What do you think about Taysom and Kamara this week on a must-win? And do you worry – I don't worry as much, but I don't know how much these guys will watch, the scoreboards. Unfortunately, both those teams are on the road, so they can't control them. But, if they glimpse up and see the Rams up 28-10 in the fourth or third, do they lose motivation? Or I don't buy too much into that most of the time. This one a little bit because it's just one result you're looking. When it's like we need this plus this times this to happen, that gets, these guys don't even think like that. But I know they're going to be peaking. I don't know how much it changes their motivation. So where you at on the Saints in general?
Yeah, I like the Saints here. I like their defense a lot in this matchup. Just the Falcons have been. So Matt Ryan actually lit these guys up the last time they played. He
Yep.
had like over 30 DraftKings points. I mean,
I believe he was
well,
in the
since
Millie Maker lineup that week.
yeah, and we're talking like now. I think 5 or 6 straight weeks of that offense just being total ass. So I just don't. He can't be trusted. And to me, like sometimes I have the Taysom Kamara, play them together call. This Falcons defense is just brutal bad, and the Saints are highly motivated, and I like the defense. So anytime in a situation like that, I don't mind going back to either one of them. I can't recommend either one for cash, but for a tournament, with Kamara's price where it is at 8,300, and Taysom Hill kind of, hasn't had an explosive week in a while where he runs 2 TDs in. So I think their ownership will be low. And then, like you said, run it back with Pitts.
Yeah, definitely a duo and run it back for sure on the afternoon slate. You're gonna have what's it, 4 or 5? I'll pull it up real quick. Afternoon games. Obviously, I think the Rams game will be highly owned because of motivation. The Cardinals will be highly owned because of motivation. So maybe the Saints go a little bit under the radar there in that afternoon. I like them for the main slate for sure because they're going to be, they are going to be, some, I think, some low owned pieces. Maybe I'm wrong there. So we get more now. Oh, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games on the afternoon. So, I think that could be a great afternoon little threesome to start with and then move on. And then the Saints D, because I think who are our favorite Ds earlier? The Bears are in noon. And then my next one was the Bills. So I'd probably be Saints and Bills would be 2 I would look at in the afternoon slate if you're thinking that way. I don't know how many people play afternoon. I personally may even like the afternoon slate better than trying to figure out because you got so many more. You got the Bills motivated. You got the Bucks motivated. You got the Cardinals motivated. You got the Patriots motivated. You got the 49ers, Rams motivated. So it's less unknown in that afternoon slate that maybe you put a little more bankroll on that now that I think about it. Speaking of the Bills, I told you the weather concern. Jets have been feisty. They're kind of up there with the Lions and Texans not going away. Bills should win this game very easily. I think they're 16, 17-point favorites. They showed that they weren't afraid to turn to the run and just, Allen started off struggling last week, couple picks. Started running the rock. Do you trust Singletary in that run, especially if we do get snow and wind? They just say, hey, let's just get our W and get out of here. That's where I'm leaning. I like the Bills. I like the Singletary. And that's about it. I could pass. There's so many other options that I'd rather spend up for than Allen and Diggs in that type of environment. Talk me out differently, or you agree?
No, I agree, especially if they got some weather. Singletary, I think, is going to be one of the most popular plays of the week. The matchup's just great. They want to win. They're at home. Huge favorite. He's 6,000, and he's been seeing 75 to 80% of the work. So, yeah, I mean, Singletary, I pretty much start the cash team there, click them in, and build around it. I can never turn away from Allen in tournaments just because he has that crazy high ceiling. He had about the worst game he could ever have last week and had 24 DraftKings points. I mean, he did run the 2 in, but passing, that was just brutal. So he doesn't typically throw 2 total stinkers together like that. And this Jets matchup is like the best in the league. So, they played the Bucks tough last week, but all that did was let Brady throw for 450 yards or whatever. So.
I think the weather is going to be a big factor Sunday morning for us. If it, to determining how much leverage we get in this game, and if it's cold and snowy, I definitely am not playing Diggs. I'd rather go to Jefferson and so many other people. Could see Allen again and Singletary in the defense for sure. I'll ask you a question on that. We talked about this last week. If you had to only do one in cash, who do you start with, Cup or JT?
This week's both.
So I knew you were going to say that. If people go, I'm not going to, who's your favorite? I know you like them both. You'll have both. Is there a favorite? They're both going to be motivated highly. Need wins. Nothing questionable. My opinion probably hasn't changed much. He's still cheaper. Floor is still there. But Cup is, I said it last week, even though I said JT, is that his floor is turning into much like a running back because they're almost utilizing him running through the air type of deal. A lot of targets, sometimes not a ton of yards, but in a PPR format like DK, it's just a monster.
Yeah, I think JT here just for some reason Shanahan has McVay's number over the
Right.
last few years. So I don't know what they've got planned, to try and limit Kupp. They blew out the Rams last time, but Kupp still had, 122 yards receiving or something around there. He's in 11 catches or whatever. So he still had a huge game, but he didn't score. And I don't know. I kind of like how Shanahan has handled McVay's offense. So I picked JT. And same reason you said last week, he has the guaranteed touches. So that's what I'd go for.
Were you encouraged by your boy Trey Lance's second half performance? And where you at on him in general? And obviously we're here for DK wise, but were you encouraged enough with what they did in the second half? And he looked a ton better. Whatever the first half was is what it is. But were you encouraged enough to go back there at 5,500?
Yeah, I like it. I like it even for cash this week. So like the two quarterbacks down there, and I'd like to go back to this game if we could, but the Ravens-Steelers game. But Huntley is 5,700 and Lance is 5,500. They both have a little bit of rushing upside, both in a must-win game. So those are two quarterbacks I'd be looking at to pay down to this weekend that I'm pretty confident in, that have like a nice floor because of the rushing. And Lance, I know because we were texting each other, pretty pissed off that he ran that one in and a pointless holding call called his rushing touchdown back. So
That was
it's nice to see him.
$5,000 swing for me.
Yeah, so yeah, just brutal. But it's nice to know it's there, for the future. So we'll keep that one in the bank and cash in on a Sunday. And it was nice to see him slinging the ball around. He had more air yards in that game than any Niner quarterback over the last 3 years. That says a lot.
Yeah, and I left the Steelers-Ravens for last. We've already hit up the Cardinals game. We know where we are there. They're playing for something, but, man, very little chance that this game even matters. But they won't know it when they're playing it for the most part, maybe in the second half. A lot of sharp guys that I like and trust and respect love the Steelers here. This to me just seems like an ugly game. What I mentioned, a little bit of chance of cold rain. I see very low scoring. If we get that type of that weather, I don't mind Huntley Andrews just because we see Huntley does like to lean on him. Cheap price, mobile, like you said, could be scrappy. Outside of that, I don't know how much I get there. What about you?
I kind of like Big Ben here. I know it's just no one is going to play him.
That's a Millie Maker lineup right there. Go build you a Big Ben lineup, and you are.
Steeler stacks have won the Millie before, back in like the Lev Bell days.
Yeah.
But
if you're doing the five like I'm talking about, and you go a Big Ben stack, you are miles ahead of the field if that thing hits.
Yeah, and the weather's the only thing I don't like. I wish that we didn't have the weather there, but they're gonna throw. The Ravens. This could not be a better matchup for Big Ben. He's five times this year. He's averaged over 7 yards per completion. One of them was against the Ravens. He had his second best QB rating of the year against the Ravens. And it's what the Ravens do. They don't let you run, and they just let you fucking throw all over them. And that is where he's at right now in his career. He just stands there and slings it. He can't move. There's no Deontay.
I was going to say, okay. If there was any Ben Love this week, it probably went out the door with Deontay. So you're really going to get him. I would be shocked at the Millie Maker if he is over 3% owned. Shocked.
Oh, yeah. He won't be. No one likes rostering Ben, and that's fine, especially with Lance for $100 more and Huntley in the same game for $300 more as the home favorite. Yeah. But James Washington, 3,700. He's been involved way more lately. I don't even mind him for cash. No,
I'm surprised you didn't put Fairmouth in your write-up at all. I don't want to give away your write-up to all, but it's worth it. Go check it out.
He's supposed to be in the tournament part, but I had to redo it this morning, so I did it a little quick. I got to buzz back over it, but I do like Fairmouth a lot.
Okay.
Basically, I like them all. Like Claypool for 5,100, Washington for 3,700. It's just a massive. You're talking 30% of the targets he throws around is now up for grabs. There's just so much opportunity here, and the price of these guys, Roethlisberger at 54, 51, 37, and even Freiermuth, I think, is like 44 or 46. there's just so much value there. And then you can run it back with Andrews, and you have some motivation from Andrews too. I wrote up. I just got to look it up real quick.
Yeah, while you're doing that, the only note I had that was two things. With the Deontay news, I actually bumped Najee and Freiermuth because I think they're security blankets for Ben, like Deontay was when needed. I love the other guys as well, but I boosted them up some because I was like, well, I could see Najee getting a bunch out of the backfield or Freiermuth as well. And Ben talked about it, the Monday night cast, if you watched it, which, you know, or were they Sunday night? I think they were Monday night, whatever they were, Monday night. They talked about how much Ben mentioned, how much he needs to get Freiermuth more involved, especially in the red zone. You know, and I had him as a captain, you know, potential on Monday. So I could see that. I mean, yeah, you go stack it and run it back with Andrews. I don't hate that, especially if I'm doing my $5 million. I mean, shit, you're taking a chance in something like that. That's definitely worth it. I don't know if I'm doing it in like a $333 single entry or something, but you know, one of these big tournaments, you throwing out there to have a little fun. I don't hate that at all.
Yeah, that's one thing. I talked about my strategy earlier, but I'm not a big Millie guy. I don't chase it too often. But this on the last weekend of the year, like you said, when you get some spots like this that you think could be just crazy leverage,
because you don't have to max it to be live. Yeah, you don't have to be max it on a week like this to be live if you're willing to. It's a lottery anyway, so you're pissing it away. If you're using proper bankroll management, this should be fun money. You're like, let me throw 10 in. I'll build some crazy ass lineups that have a shot. Aaron Rodgers, a Big Ben, some of these stuff that people aren't necessarily going to immediately go to, and you know you don't need to put 150 lineups in. Again, that's not bankroll management style. I'm saying you're like, hey, I'm gonna have some fun this Sunday and do this and take a chance at $1 million. That's a great option to do on that game right there.
Yeah, Andrews, I did look it up too. He's 141 yards away from the single season tight end record. So
for everybody or the Ravens?
It's not like asterisks next to this, anyways. But what?
For everybody or for the Ravens?
I think it's for
everybody.
For everyone, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's had a big year. That's and I'm sure that's something they'll know. And Huntley, I mean, he loves targeting him, so that didn't hurt him at all. So in general, as wrapping it up, we definitely, as you can tell, some great spots we like. I think it's going to be almost a must that you got to be around Sunday morning if you're unless you're building super safe, which I don't, cash, whatever, follow Ryan, and you're good there. But tournament type stuff, I think, and I'll update my article, as soon as we get all the inactives and I'll be in Slack even more to listening to as much of the beat as we can to hear, usage is going to be huge or potential. Like there'll be some risk we got to take this week, and that's fine. We'll go by Sunday morning. We'll be able to dissect which risk we think we're good at and which ones maybe not worth it. Rodgers may be an absolute no play by 10:30 Sunday morning. By all means, it is a fun week but I don't take it seriously. I know that probably sounds different. Like I'll do stuff and play stuff way differently than I normally would for fun. I kind of have the bankroll set aside there, and I'll more focus on the 2-game slate, that afternoon slate I really like. I may do that, and then the Sunday night football, and then roll over to Bobby winning us some money in college football. So cash, I agree with you. I think there's plenty of leverage and spot you don't have to get way out of there. Maybe too many people outthink themselves in cash this week. I don't have the history to know that, but definitely think we can make some money there. Before we wrap it up, any final thoughts for you?
No, just I'll reiterate, like this week for me is probably a not Taylor or Cup for cash. I'll be playing both. And that's just, I think it's pretty easy to fit with some value that's on the board. But again, that weather is going to be a big concern, and we'll have all the latest news on, if we have any playing time updates. So just check back on Sunday morning or hit Gup or hit myself up in Slack, and we'll talk through it.
Yeah, Monkey Knife Fight. The link is in the description as well. I mentioned early, dollar for dollar match up to $100. Use the code GUPS, GUPS. UFC is back next week. They got PGA, college football, NFL, hockey, NASCAR, NBA, MLB, all of that. I'll have my college football picks out Monday on the Cup with Gup. My NFL play of the week is Dalvin Cook over 90.5 and Najee Harris over 77.5. That's a 3x multiplier there. My underdog pick, I talked about it earlier. Go click that link. Use Gup. Get in some best ball playoffs, the gauntlet, $1 million, $200K to first. Actually, a pretty good, solid payout structure. Ryan mentioned the $5 one as well if you want to enter more teams on that money. My 5 that I like, and you can mix and match these parlays however you want. You could do all 5 if you want. I think it's a 20x. I like Taylor over 118.5 yards, Dak over 253.5 yards, Kyler over 290.5 total yards. Make sure it's the total yards because that'll bring his rushing in, which I like that number. Mahomes over 262.5, and then Trevor Lawrence under 209.5 passing. I gave out my golf ones earlier today. I'll have those for each round over the weekend, as well as my showstoppers. My showstoppers for today were put out for free. I may do that for the entire weekend, let you guys take a look at that, and then we'll bring it back to the paywall. As I mentioned, College National Championship will be Monday. We'll have that covered. UFC back next week. I will be back Monday with Cup with Gup and the Smash Factor for our first full field event, the Sony Open. Great start to the season.